Welcome back. I hope you guys all had a great Easter weekend last weekend. But we're back. There's a lot of things to talk about. So many things that we could talk about. Kamala Harris is being criticized because she owns a handgun, and some of these candidates don't have enough money to get into the debate. But I really want to keep it focused, trying to keep these short. So there's really three big things that we want to talk about. And the first one is, of course, Joe Biden. I got him over here. I mean, he's way over here. I mean, the way that this race has really set up is we've got all of these guys here on the left, and they're all a little bit maybe too left for the general election, as many people believe. And then Joe Biden is here to be the centrist to save the party from the far left, which is kind of interesting because I've always considered Joe Biden to be very, very far left. But it just seems like that center doesn't really exist in the Democrat Party anymore. Anyways, he did finally announce this week, and I think he's making a big mistake. So here's the thing: is that his opening salvo was basically all I'm here to save us from Donald Trump, and I'm only running so that Donald Trump is no longer our president. And man, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to start over one more time. Welcome back. I hope you guys all had a great Easter weekend. We have tons of things to talk about, but I'm trying to keep these things short. There's so much stuff we could talk about. Kamala Harris is being attacked because she owns a handgun. Some of these candidates don't have enough funds to be able to get into the debates. Some of these people just keep putting out ideas that nobody really cares about, but really I'm trying to keep these videos short, so there's really three things that we got to talk about. And the first one is, of course, Joe Biden. So Joe Biden announced this week, and as we mentioned earlier, it's kind of turning into this like Joe Biden is here to save us from the far left that is unelectable, supposedly. Um, and so he did announce. It took a while, and the timing was kind of odd, and he did it on a Thursday, but I think his rollout was pretty good. And it seems like one of the reasons why it took so long was because he was trying to get a lot of good fundraising set up. So he raised $6.3 million on the first day, and you compare that over here to Beto, who was 6.1, I believe. So he's raised more than anybody else, but he had to pull some strings and he had to work hard to do that. The media is kind of just, they really, really want to get him, and they really, really want to have this, oh, Joe Biden fizzles story, because, I mean, everybody's going to read that, right? So they're getting for him, and so Joe Biden, it seems, made sure that he had the fundraising to, make a big splash. And he's really coming in like, I'm the big front runner, and he's trying to set this up much like it was when Mitt Romney was running for the Republican nomination. If you guys remember that, it was like Mitt Romney is the front runner and everybody's trying to tear him down, and Joe Biden is trying to set up that same kind of dynamic. Now, with his opening, I think that Joe Biden is making a little bit of a mistake here, because his video was very much attacking Donald Trump, attacking the Republican Party, and a lot of other people, and it was just very negative. And I think this is a mistake, because the thing that Joe Biden has going for him is he has a very, very high likability. The older voters in particular really like Joe Biden. They think he's like a down to earth, clean, good guy. Well, okay, there's that whole like he's a little too friendly with people, but probably a lot of people don't care about that. I don't know. Personally, I think that's probably enough to really hurt his chances. But let's just assume for a second that that's not enough. If the thing that people like about him is that, his clean persona, then when you go out and you start attacking people, what happens, right? It's just like, what's the old saying? If you wrestle with pig in the mud, all it's going to do is going to get you dirty. So I think that he's making a little bit of a tactical mistake. I think that Joe Biden should be trying to project as much optimism as possible. He should let his surrogates and the party attack Donald Trump, but he should avoid getting his hands dirty as much as possible. But that doesn't appear to be what he's doing. He was like full on attack. And I'm starting to think that if Joe Biden does get the nomination, that we could see the most toxic presidential race ever. That's just the way that they're going right now. So I'm a little concerned about that. Okay, second thing we got to talk about over here on the left, we've got Bernie. And earlier this week, CNN had a town hall, and Bernie Sanders said that he believes that we should allow felons to vote. Now, there actually are some interesting arguments for this, but this is just a really dumb idea. And I'm not saying that like it's a dumb idea from a policy perspective, but it's a dumb idea in terms of a politician. I think that Bernie Sanders really thinks that if I have ideas and I stick to my ideas, that is going to work out for me. I don't think so. Here's the thing. People don't vote based on ideas. Most people don't know what the policies are. Most people probably couldn't really analyze the policies to tell you if they're good ones or bad ones. And most people realize that despite what a politician might propose, that what actually ends up coming out of them at the end ends up being very different from what is proposed. And so most people vote from an emotional frame of mind. And that's why the candidate, who they are and their character, matters a lot. Now, there are some things in that area that Bernie Sanders has going for him, but saying that felons should vote, and in particular, the question was framed that these terrorists that are in prison right now, should they be allowed to vote? And he was saying, yes, that is so, oh my gosh, Bernie, do you want to get elected, Bernie? If you want to get elected, stop saying dumb things, all right? This is the sort of a thing that is going to upset people. So an example that I would point you to is to go and watch the episode of The View where they were talking about this, and look at Meghan McCain. She is visibly upset about this. And there are going to be a lot of voters out there that are too, and they can run ads on him all day to Sunday. It's so bad. This is a huge mistake for Bernie Sanders. But the thing that he's got going for him is still that he appears to be the top contender on the far left. Nobody really seems to care about Elizabeth Warren, and he really seems to have that party, locked down. All right. Now there's one more thing that I want to talk about, and that is Pete. So we've mentioned him before. Didn't have him on the board. You printed out a little bit small. I don't know. I like that. But do you see that? These pictures are so great. You look at their expressions and everything. I might go and reprint everybody to try and get them more to the same size. But anyways, he has been doing very well in polling, particularly in Iowa. And the way that it's looking right now, it is really Sanders, Biden, and Pete here. And I'm just going to call him Pete because I know that if I say his last name, I'm just going to screw it up. So anyways, so Pete understands this. Remember, we were talking about what people vote based on, and a lot of it is based off of an emotional frame of mind. So Pete has done a really good job at using foils. So he's been attacking the vice president because there's some things about the vice president and gay therapy, and it's kind of complicated because he doesn't really actually support it. There was a bill about it. And anyways, it's kind of funny because the vice president, he's been saying, oh, Pete knows that I don't hate him. Remember, Pete is a mayor in a state that the vice president was governor of, right? So they know each other. But Pete has kind of been attacking and using that to his advantage. But he's been able to do it in a way that makes Pete look like he's a really good guy. that he's the nice, clean, good guy, and these guys are super evil and everything like that. So he's doing a good job with that. The question with Pete, though, is that all you got? So I'm not really seeing a whole lot of policy proposals coming out of him, and the proposals them need to stop bumping this thing. The proposals themselves aren't exactly a huge deal, so much as it is just how does he present himself, because people want to know that they have somebody that's competent. And we're talking about a mayor. I think it's hard for a mayor to get elected, so there's kind of some question about if Pete really has the chops to do this. And there is, as I said, there is this whole flavor of the week thing, and you're going to have a thing where it's going to be like, okay, first it was Beto, and then Beto came out and he had a really strong showing, and then everybody was like, oh no, Beto's up in front, we need to attack him. So they all attacked him. Now Beto is down, so now it's Pete. And I wouldn't be surprised if, many of these other guys like Corey and Kamala all have their days in the sun as well. And I still think that Kamala Harris is a good top tier candidate, even though she has fallen very much so in the betting markets. I wouldn't count her out. She is a very smart cookie, and she is a very cunning politician. And I think that when the debates come along, that is going to go very, very well for her. So that is kind of the field as we have it today. As always, like, subscribe, and leave your comments on what you think about the race today. I've been getting a lot of really great comments and feedback from people, and it seems like people are enjoying this series, and we're growing every week. So thank you very, very much for that. I always go and attack these guys, but just remember, guys, this is for fun. Politics can be fun. I know it seems like a super serious thing, but the truth of the matter is that democracy is super, super messy, and not everybody that we're going to pick is going to be perfect, and of course we're going to get emotional and everything about it, but always keep in mind that this is the way that works, and you should have fun with it. So I will see you guys next week, and in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.